you listen to me? I got that flavor, I know you're dying to feed. I ain't no dancer, just got some hip in my feet. Now throw your hands up. Ooh, you bring the lighter, I got the fuse. You make a fire, I'll add the fuel. Follow my lead, just watch your shoes. Gotta turn the heat up to get this cool.
Welcome back to the Kempire Daily YouTube channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, be sure to rate the latest episode of the Real Housewives of Miami, and also don't forget to rate the reunion looks. We have to go through the reunion looks, but before we get into any of those things, let me know where you're watching from. Again, don't forget to like the video and don't forget to check out the description for more information on that beautiful arrangement and how you can get $25 off of your own beautiful arrangement, or maybe for the one that you love. Valentine's Day is right around the corner. Just saying, don't wait till the last minute. More information is available on that, our podcast, and our new website, TheKempire.com, where you can find out more about our merch and everything Kempire. All right. Shout out to everyone in the live chat. I see you guys. And shout out to everyone watching in the replay crew. Replay crew, be sure to let us know your thoughts, where you're watching from, and what you thought of the reunion looks and everything. I have to say this. Miami, last season, I felt like we had some highs and lows in the episodes, and especially once we got towards the end of the episode, of the season, I should say. It felt as if, okay, it was a good season. But I have to say, from episode 1 to episode 12, it has been glorious this season. And honestly, it's not just about Lisa and her divorce, because to me, I don't feel like that's been the biggest story carrying the season, like we've seen in Beverly Hills or we've seen on other cities or any other reality show. I feel just like there's so much going on with everyone. And because we have such a full cast, wait a second, where is Leah Black? I thought she's supposed to be coming soon, very soon. She's supposed to be in one of the episodes. And sidebar, I did see that Alexia and Marysol were on Watch What Happens Live. I like their natural friendship, their natural chemistry, their banter on Watch What Happens Live actually made that probably one of the best episodes I've seen, at least recently, of Watch What Happens Live. I didn't watch the entire thing, but I saw quite a few clips. And I was like, I like them. They're just, because they're real friends. Do I like Alexia this season? No. And I know last week all of you were like, Kempire, she's a Taurus. And I was like, damn it. Tauruses on reality TV have really, there aren't a lot that I love. At least not with the shows that we talk about. The only one that I might say that it represents the Taurus folks well is Candy. Everyone else seems to be a problem. Big Ed, Teresa Giudice, Alexia. Who else is there that are Tauruses? You will let me know in the live chat and in the comments section. What other Tauruses can we be proud of besides myself? So before we get into the episodes, I want to talk about the reunion looks, because the reunion looks came out literally after we finished doing our Thirsty Thursday live show yesterday. Be sure to check that out and be sure to let me know your thoughts on everything that we talked about yesterday, because we talked about Below Deck, we talked about Love Without Borders, we talked about Robin Dixon. Sidebar, I saw the rumor about Robin Dixon being fired. Look, when your source is media takeout, I am officially done. I'm officially done. I just can't. We know what media takeout is. Do I believe that maybe that Andy put this story out there to get our attention so we would watch what happens live? Do I believe that there was tense moments with Andy and Robin? Yeah, probably. But honestly, I'm not watching. I'll see the clips, and we'll talk about it during our Real Housewives of Potomac watch party, and also when we recap the show on Mondays, 3 p.m. Eastern. Sidebar. I also wanted to mention this. Look, since we're talking about Bravo's show, and it's Friday, and we probably won't be able to really touch base again until Monday, I saw that we are finally going to get a Traitors reunion. Yes. You know I love Traitors on Peacock. I'm watching it a second time. I'm almost done. But then I saw Andy's tweet where he says, I'll be hosting the Traitors reunion. And I know people think I hate Andy. I don't know Andy to hate Andy. I don't hate anyone. And I don't want the position. I just love Traitors, and I love the shows that we talk about. So I really want the reunion host to be good. And a lot of you have criticized Andy for how he handles the Real Housewives reunions. But you know what? At the end of the day, I will complain about it because that's what we do here. But it's his show. He produces it. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I get it. But you don't produce this show. You are, I get it. I know some of y'all think that I'm dumb because I'm like, I understand that Peacock falls under the NBC umbrella. My issue is that they continuously are making Andy, look, it might be just cheap in order for him to do it, but they keep allowing Andy to host every single thing on the network. Why are you putting all your eggs in one basket? Or do we forget about, during the pandemic when we were saying Black Lives Matter, we're going to uplift Black voices? We forgot about that already, big corporate America? Y'all remember that? We're going to invest in more Black voices and da-da. And like I said before, I'm not gunning for the job. I want to watch the reunion. I've been asking for the Traitors reunion because I want to get their perspectives. If anything, even if you're going to uplift another white man, uplift the right one, Alan Cummings. He was the actual host of the show, but maybe they couldn't afford him. They couldn't afford him to do the reunion, or maybe schedules conflicted. But Andy Cohen is your go-to every single time. You know how many Black and brown and people of color that are media personalities that work for the NBC umbrella that they could have chosen from? You saw a couple of them at BravoCon. So for those of you that think I want the job, no, I want to watch whoever's going to do it, but let it not be Andy Cohen. But I get it. Y'all, you guys will explain it away. Well, he's under the umbrella. People like him. It's cheaper if they just have him do it. No, it's not. Don't sit here and act like NBC is this broke network that can't pay a media personality to host one reunion. Come on now. But my platform, which I love because I call the shots. Can you imagine if I worked for NBC? I wouldn't be able to talk about Andy Cohen like this. Come on. That's what I love it here. Yes. We can say what we want because we control what happens here. So I saw that, but I wanted to let you guys know there will be a reunion despite the host, who I feel it should have been Alan. But despite that, there will be a reunion of Traitors, and I'm excited about that. So I wanted to mention that before we get into these reunion looks. So let's talk about these reunion looks. All right. So last week we talked about Andy Cohen yelling at Larsa, and we talked in depth about that, and a lot of you had reactions to that, and you're like, yeah, what? He's over it. Okay. So Bravo reports this in regards to the reunion looks. They said, when it comes to fashion, the Miami housewives always bring the heat, and they turn up the temperature even more for the Real Housewives of Miami reunions. For last season's triumphant return, the Florida ladies donned some of the most sizzling ensembles yet. They really did. And if you thought it couldn't get any better than season 4, think again, because we have an exclusive first look at the season 5 reunion dresses, and they just might go down in Bravo history as the sexiest reunion looks of all time. They're so dramatic, but I can appreciate a writer. All right. So they said for the season 5 sit down, Lisa, Larsa, Alexia, Guerdy, Julia, Dr. Nicole, Marysol, Adriana, and Kiki pulled out all the stops for their fiery skin-bearing ensembles. There were multiple nude illusion dresses for me, okay, we'll talk about it in a second. Our jaws dropped when we witnessed Guerdy's frock. Okay, they already said it. Which was completely made of silver chains and highlighted her fit figure. Julia was a golden goddess in abs-bearing bra top, maxi skirt combo with sheer panels, while Kiki's, okay, whatever. Who cares about any of this stuff? I know you don't care. We want to look at the looks. So, according to Guerdy on social media, she says that the theme was James Bond. Honestly, the theme was Vegas and Dr. Nicole's party. That's what the theme is. Okay. So we can start with Adriana's look. So Adriana, and if you follow me on TikTok, then you saw that I rated these initially as they came out, and I rated them based off of seeing them on my phone. But now that I can see them in full view on screen, and I've seen it in motion because they've now put out videos of them moving in their outfits, which I love. And I'm looking at Adriana's look, and I have to say I like it more than originally when I first saw it. Adriana, and I said this in my recap on TikTok, I feel like this season she really brought it in regards to her fashion. She looked a lot better, especially in her confessionals and things like that. This look is not bad. Not bad at all. It's sort of like this gold-inspired look. I like it. It's not bad. It's really not bad. It's solid for me. Is it my favorite? Not really. I don't really love her hair. It's almost like her hair is stuck up like this, but I think she looks good. I'm gonna give this a 7.5. And I know what you're thinking. That's not a lot, but no, that's solid. I don't love the look though. I don't love the look. Okay, Alexia Napola, because thank God she has her new married name. I can't say her original name. Okay. So Alexia, so she's wearing like this black and white, but like this silver number. I mean, she looks good. You know what I mean? How old is Alexia? She looks good. To me, this is sort of like a cocktail. Not cocktail. What am I thinking? I don't know how I would describe this dress. It's definitely reunion-esque. It's a reunion-esque dress. It's not my favorite. I don't hate it. I don't love it either. So I probably would give this... I like it more than Adriana's, do I? No, but when you think about the theme, I can't possibly give Alexia better because Alexia's... The theme is James Bond. I mean, I can see it a little bit. I'm going to give this a 7.5. I'm going to give this a 7.5. I don't love it. I don't hate it. Guerdy. So when I first saw Guerdy's outfit, I was just sort of like, I didn't hate it, especially when you look at her outfit from last season's reunion, which I still like more than this season's reunion look, because she looked like, oh my God, like a superhero. But she gives us sexy. The hair looks great. Makeup looks great. You know how sometimes they do like the sheerness, but it's very obvious that it's sheerness? No, her look gives the illusion like she's naked, but you're not seeing anything inappropriate. So I really kind of like this look more now that I see it in a big screen. She looks beautiful. She looks sexy. I would give this a 9. I'm going to give this a 9. And I only give it a 9 because I loved last season's reunion look even more. Julia. Oh, perpetually, she's the womp 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 of the season. And I appreciate what she's talking about in this episode about her adoption journey and, being gay and being older. But this reunion look, her hair, and she's a beautiful woman. I don't love this, though. I don't like this at all. And if I gave Adriana a 7, this has to get a 5. I don't like this look at all. But you guys will let me know in the chat. Please feel free to let us know how you would rate everyone's look. All right? But I don't like this. I don't hate it, but I definitely don't like it. Especially when you're not that interesting on the show. Like Guerdy. Let's be real. Guerdy is not necessarily the most interesting and the most dynamic on this cast. But at least she brings something. And that, when it comes to the fashion and on throwing a party, Guerdy brings something. Julia, I'm still waiting on her. Oh, she brings Martina. Moving on. Kiki. So Kiki gives us multiple looks throughout the season and multiple funny moments throughout the season. I don't necessarily love this hair on her. I like the dress. She has a beautiful physique. And like I said, she's given us so many fashion moments throughout the season. The hair is throwing me, though, with this look. It's solid, though. I don't know how I would rate this. And I think what it is that I like her so much. I like her personality. I think she's a great addition to the show. But I have to remember, this is about fashion. Even though she brings so much fashion during the season. What would I give this? I'm going to give this a 7. I feel like it's solid, but I don't feel like it's her best. Larsa Pippen. Okay, Larsa. Honestly, I couldn't even remember what Larsa wore last season for her reunion. I feel like it was in the vein of the same type of dress. I would have to go Google schmoogle what she wore. It doesn't look bad. It kind of, around the neck, it gives me what Robin Dixon wore, where it lined her dress, that whole garland situation. I probably would have preferred if it was actual diamonds. It almost looks, now that's large in front of me, it almost looks cheap. I'm sorry, Larsa. But I think she looks good. I do think she looks good. But very much like, will I remember this look for years to come? No. Like, I'm still thinking about Guerdy's look from last season. That's what I think they really should do. Like, is this look going to be memorable? Lisa Hoxton, who had a very tumultuous season, this look gives me very much what Ashley Darby was trying to give us in her reunion look. She's showing us some skin. It's from Michael Costello, the dress. I think I like it for her. It's not my favorite look. I like it for her. I like that she's giving a sexy, but still a gown. I'm going to give this an 8. And I'm only giving her an 8 because she's had a rough season. Okay.
Lies! The lie!
All right. All right. Okay, Marysol. So friend of the show, Marysol. Marysol, again, I have to take away personality because she's so funny this season. I don't love her and how she defends Alexia even when Alexia is wrong. But I have to say, this is so grown woman, elegant, very regal, and just very consistent with Marysol. Like, it's demure, but it shows off a little shape. I like this look. Who did this dress? Wade Allen. This is pretty. This is pretty to me. I like this look on her. Honestly, I think it's very sophisticated. I have to actually give her an 8.5 because to me, it's tasteful. It's tasteful. But then I'm thinking the theme is James Bond. Not really. I don't really feel like she captured that. Maybe a little bit. So Nicole, Dr. Nicole Martin. So originally when I saw this, it was so small on my phone. Look, so small on my phone. And I didn't love it. But it's very consistent with Dr. Nicole and the type of look that she would normally sport. So she's not, doing a whole gown. All right. And this dress is Balmain. And I actually, the more I see it up close and enlarged, it looks really good. I like her hair and her makeup because to me, it goes very well with the theme of what a Balmain dress would look like. I like it. And I know that it's intricate and I know that's money. I know that it's money. And a lot of you are loving Dr. Nicole this season, rightfully so. I like this dress. I'm going to give this dress, actually, I'm going to give it a 9.5. And I rated it a lot lower when I did the TikTok because I really couldn't see the intricacy of this dress and how pretty it actually is. And then seeing it in motion as well. All right. I think that was all the looks. All right. All right. Can we get into this episode? So this is episode 12 already of The Real Housewives of Miami on Peacock. For those of you that don't have Peacock, eventually it will be on Bravo. I'm assuming this season will probably end sometime in March, April. By then, you'll start to, probably by the summer, you'll probably get this. You're probably like, damn, not the summer. I don't know, early summer, May, I don't know. So this episode is called Apology Not Accepted. And they start off this episode. First of all, shout out to the producers and editors. There is a difference in how Miami is edited versus the other cities. And they're just the cinematography looks different. I don't know if it's the aesthetic of Miami as the backdrop and that these ladies live in these really amazing spaces. But just the aesthetic as I'm watching, it's just a different feel. It definitely gives me Ultimate Girls Trip, that feel that we got with season 1. I'm getting that in every single episode. So they give us a flash to the gringo dinner that they have with their husbands. And Alexia and her partner, Todd, are getting into it with Dr. Nicole and her partner, Anthony. So we see that flash at the very beginning. All right. So we go to Alexia and Marysol going to the fat doctor. Look, only in Miami would they allow Marysol to give a shot to Alexia. And Alexia, where is the fat that you're trying to get rid of? And does it work? You're on the next flight. Look. I'm on my I'm meeting with my nutritionist. I'm doing Pilates. But if I could just get a shot, look. No. For the love of I can't even think right now. But anyways, we'll move on. So, okay. So they're hanging out, they're catching up. Of course, they're talking about Dr. Nicole, and apparently she has an issue with Dr. Nicole and what Dr. Nicole did at her lunch with the lawyer. And look, although we understand that Larsa too, that Alexia and Marysol have issues with Nicole for whatever reason. They're jealous of her, or maybe because fans like her more. Who knows? But I do agree, her taking her black card out and putting it in that man's lap the way that she did was not really nice. It was not appropriate. It wasn't very, it was disrespectful in a way. Okay? But they also flashed to a scene where her and Nicole seemed to be okay at the end. But you know, Alexia. So Alexia and Marysol talk about that. And then at one point, Alexia says, that was really rude and disrespectful for her to drop her credit card like that in this man's lap. That's what you do to strippers. And then I thought to myself, look, I don't go to the strip club, but are you guys really dropping credit cards on strippers? I don't think that's how y'all doing that. Is that what y'all do in Miami? Someone let me know. Just saying. So we do get this scene with Marysol and Alexia just being their funny, fun selves, catching up, hanging out in this office. Marysol has been hanging out with the fat doctor because she loves the fat doctor. She's not getting the shots. She just likes hanging out with the fat doctor. So the fat doctor tells her that, yes, you can give Marysol the shot. I'll just show you how. I don't know. Is that okay? Is that okay? I mean, she seemed to be okay with it, but, Marysol, first of all, it seems a little too excited to do it. And Alexia was a little rightfully nervous. But they end up doing it, and it's fine. Nicole FaceTimes with Julia and also discusses their next trip. So their next trip is going to be the Bahamas. I'm guessing this is their big cash trip. I mean, they're in Miami, and no offense to the Bahamas, but they could go a bunch of different places. Why the Bahamas? No offense to the Bahamas, but I mean, it's still going to be luxurious. It's still going to be fun. They're going to be on a beach. But I just feel like we are in Miami, so we are already at a very similar beach. I'm just saying. But I like it. But maybe this is not their big trip. But I have a feeling that it is because we're already halfway through the season. It's okay. It looks like this trip is about to be a hot mess. Adriana gets injured. Adriana gets activated later in the season, though. She's causing a lot of trouble. So speaking of Adriana. So Adriana and Julia meet up for lunch. And Adriana talks about how she's having nightmares about the lawyer lunch because she feels like the people that she used to confide in and be good friends with, like Marysol and Alexia, really turned on her and did not support her and questioned, her boyfriend and things like that. Because you remember that was an issue. And I get it because when they flash back to those old episodes of Miami, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot how close, they once were. I don't know how close they've been since then because, friendships change. Because look at Anna. We talked about Anna last week. So I'm not it gave me the nostalgia that we needed. So thank you, editors, for flashing back to those old episodes with Marysol, Adriana, and Alexia. And even just last season's episode where Adriana was there to support Alexia. So they talk about that, but they also talk about Julia's challenges for adopting. And one of the things that stood out to me in the conversation, I already know you guys are thinking, here we go with Julia and this adoption storyline. As we know, Martina has been diagnosed with cancer. We're sending her love, but we also know that this has probably halted their adoption journey. One of the things that she mentions, though, and this is what I can appreciate from Julia's storyline, is that she's talking about adoption for gay individuals, but also individuals that are over 50. And she says in the process of doing this, she says, in order to adopt an infant from some of these agencies, you have to be younger than 50 years old. And I know some of you might have opinions. Yeah, that's a good thing. Or some of you are like, that's ageism. Or is that just them thinking ahead in the future for the children? I don't know. Like, I'm on the fence about that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And also, if anything, there are plenty of kids that are not infants that need homes. But we already know with Julia, she's not looking for a baby. She's looking more for, like, I think she said was like 1, 2, 3 years old. So that is Julia's storyline. We probably will get an update in regards to Martina's cancer situation when we have the reunion, which they've already filmed, and they filmed it here in New York. So Lisa and Larsa. Larsa, this is what saves you during the season, and I'm glad we got an episode where you're just being a good friend to Lisa. And she's like, you look skinnier now. You need to make sure you're eating. You have to like force yourself to eat. And this is where they have a conversation about the whole Lenny situation and where they are. And Larsa's really being a good friend. And then she talks about her divorce situation and how public it was. And at one point, people accused her of cheating on Scotty. And she says, no, it was months and months of us just not getting along and we weren't together anymore. And there was a period where they were still living with each other not too long ago. And they were literally not together anymore. They just weren't officially divorced. We saw them get divorced last season. So she talks about that. And Lisa is just like, this man really wants to just kick me out of this home that I've been in for 15 years with his children. Lenny, you're still trash. Every episode, we're just going to say that for one time. Lenny's trash, okay? But he's also trash for this. I don't know what's more offensive. And I agree with Larsa that her personal trainer, Lisa's personal trainer, dropped her because now he's training the girlfriend. The mistress. First of all, Lisa, who's that trainer? Because he's trash. Because why would you? I get it. Well, because Lenny's paying the bill. And he's also probably Lenny's trainer. Trash. Look, all of them. All of them are trash. So to me, that's the most egregious thing that I got from this. I know he's trying to kick her out of her house. But the most egregious thing, I agree, Larsa. She's like, oh, you already have with this other woman. Now you want her to gain weight and get fat and ugly after you've kicked her out. Okay, now she's being dramatic because Larsa can be very superficial. I took it as just a joke. I didn't take it as literal. The world we live in. All right. So the Gringo dinner, because there's so much more to unpack here. So the Gringo dinner, which first of all, I love it. And I love when they try to define what exactly is a Gringo. Basically, it's a white American. Okay. I mean, I wonder if they would call a black American a Gringo. I don't think so. But by their terminology, I guess, whatever. You guys will let me know in the chat. You always do. So the Gringo dinner, we have all of the couples come together. Except, who was in there? Julia, Adriana, and Kiki. So we have Dr. Nicole, Alexia, we have Marysol. Mind you, Marysol, I know you got a Gringo, but y'all not even really married. We found out. But we also get a scene with Guerdy and her Gringo, Russell, who doesn't get engaged in this fight at all. And so does Marysol's husband, or partner. Does not get involved in any argument. But I like seeing I love Cuban food. I had Cuban food last weekend. Oh, I think I want some this weekend. I love food. So We see the food. It looks delicious, whatever. But they're talking about their culture and how they grew up. And Dr. Nicole is talking about how her son, speaks better Spanish than she does because she speaks more like this, like Cuban slang Spanish. And so does Alexia, because Alexia's like, what did he say? He's speaking like the proper school language of Spanish, which I love for him. I love that for her child. Because if anything, guys, by being bilingual is helpful in a variety of different ways, especially Spanish. So it goes from having a good time, everyone hanging out. All right, we don't really see a lot of Todd. We saw a lot more of Anthony this season than anyone else. And probably Russell we saw a couple of times more this season than last season. All of a sudden, it takes a turn to what went down at Alexia's house. And Alexia's like, I didn't like, what you did at my house. Like, she chooses this as a moment, which I felt like, guys, your husbands are there. How about we avoid having this moment? But for our entertainment purposes, Alexia, we appreciate you. We appreciate you. Okay. Well, and I know a lot of the Real Housewives fans always say this husbands need to stay out of it. Here's the thing, though. I'm going to defend Anthony in this situation. He's an attorney. So, and this is what we said last week in regards to the lawyer answering a question about defamation, even though his focus is family law. He's an attorney, though. They learn all of it. He might not be an expert. He might not be able to represent her in a defamation situation, but he can definitely answer a question, which he did. But Alexia and Marysol got so inflamed when she asked the question. And honestly, although they're making it about her putting the credit card or throwing the credit card in his lap, they were inflamed and acting up way before that and making a big deal. Why not just let the man answer the question? And I don't understand why Alexia, because that really wasn't your fight. If anything, she was talking about what Larsa was saying. So I don't understand why you actually created a situation that was more hostile and uncomfortable than Dr. Nicole. It wouldn't have gotten to that level where she went to her purse, even though I don't agree with her doing that. It wouldn't have gotten to that level if you just let him answer the question and then move on. Because he can. And this is why when Anthony chimes in, he says, as an attorney, we're trained in order to answer all these things. He's chiming in because him saying it shuts all of you down because he's an attorney. And he'd be like, I would be able to answer a question like that. He should be able to answer a question like that. And I know Nicole is asking this question in front of the group so that they have an understanding from someone that's not her husband or future husband about what Larsa is doing and how that could be hurtful to her career, Dr. Nicole's career. So that's where I'm going to defend Anthony. I don't feel like he was arguing with Alexia. I felt like he was schooling Alexia on why this is a question he could answer. And look, Todd has never been my favorite on this cast. I just liked him because we didn't really see him a lot. I didn't love him last season, but we had the whole Peter situation, and Peter's a hot mess. So we were just sort of like, he's right. You need to get more assistance for Frankie so he can be more independent, which they're doing. I love that scene with Frankie now possibly going to get a job. He's really learning skills, and I understand and I appreciate Alexia sharing this journey with Frankie on the show. I thought that was a beautiful scene, and I can't wait to see how much progression Frankie makes, because their story is going to help so many other people. But back to the Gringo party. So it turns into this back and forth between Alexia and Nicole, but then it turns into a back and forth between Todd and Anthony, which is like, damn, now you've ruined any possibility of them getting along. Because even if they make peace at the end of this episode, Alexia and Nicole, that doesn't mean that Todd and Anthony are going to, because Todd made some, like, it was like they were tag teaming, like they had planned, Alexia and Todd planned to make this sort of attack of all them. So apparently Todd has been Googling, schmoogling Anthony, because he's like, oh, you only have 3 people at his firm. He's got 3 people, but he's making bank. Why? I don't understand. People have such corporate America, these big law firms are the best. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. That means they have to pay a lot more attorneys and bonuses and all these other fees for these attorneys. That doesn't mean that they're making bank and that makes them better. So even if he has a smaller law firm, can we already tell that this man is not hurting? All right? So that ignorant mentality of just because he doesn't work for the top law firm in the world, that he must be hurting and that he might not know something. I didn't like Todd's attitude. And look, we've questioned Anthony's attitude, this season. But Todd was like the worst of the worst because he came in there ready. Like he had Googled Anthony to take Anthony down. And you only looked like the biggest jackass, and I don't even curse. You look like but we already got that energy from Todd. I'm not surprised. It's very New York, Staten Island personality because that's where he's from. Very ignorant. I said it. I'm from here. I can say it. Very ignorant. And I already can tell that this is why their relationship works, because Alexia is ignorant too. Sorry. Gotta call a spade a spade. I didn't like that conversation because it got so heated between the husbands and it didn't need to go there. It could have been a nice, fun lunch where they're celebrating their Cuban heritage and their gringos and things like that. And it turned into this other situation where we get Alexia. And Dr. Nicole's like, I really had no idea that she was still upset because they flashed back to the scene at the lunch where they were hugging and kissing and saying goodbye. So I find that weird that all of a sudden you felt like you were owed an apology. You could have had that conversation separately and not in front of the husbands. Now the husbands don't like each other, and they may never like each other, especially after the digs that Todd took at Anthony. I wouldn't be surprised. You sat there and Googled me, apparently. Guerdy it was also there with her gringo. And they talk about the calendar, and apparently her husband is up for retirement in a couple of years. But the calendar at first, I was like, what? He's not on the calendar. I wasn't even thinking the fireman calendar at first. And then Guerdy's like, I would love for him to do it, but he's like, I don't want to do it. He's such a just laid back, cool guy. Guerdy would love for him to parade around and be that hot, sexy guy, but she also knows what she has. And there's something great about him being so low key and not getting involved in all the mess that's happening. He's just like, this is uncomfortable. Is this what you guys do? So was Marysol's partner. All right. I thought that was interesting. And speaking of Guerdy, she's still trying to figure out the balancing of her professional life and her business life with her kids. But she FaceTimes Nicole to discuss what happened at the Gringo party. And Nicole feels blindsided. She's just like, when? I didn't know she was that upset and hurt. All right. Past that, Larsa, Kiki, and Lisa go out. And this, again, is another reason why we can appreciate a friend like Larsa. She's going to get you out the house. She's going to make sure you have a good time. She's going to help you through this terrible situation that she's going through. Larsa's like, would you sleep with Lenny again if he wanted to? And then she was like, no. And then she was like, yes, you would, because you're horny. And that happens all the time with exes. Even though you might be breaking up. That's, hello, a coochie craven for the love of Ashley Darby. But that really would be terrible, especially because of the situation that he already has a girlfriend. And he's already trying to kick her out the house. So, no. I'm glad that she hasn't. But that we know of. So they're talking about that. She also talks about how, the group and people think that her and Lenny were swinging in their relationship and things like that. And she's like, that's far from the truth, because although they had these types of parties and things like that, I mean, look, we've talked about it during the season as well, where people accuse Lisa of being aware that maybe they didn't swing together, but he would go upstairs with some of these girls. Allegedly. We don't know. But if anything, I hope in this future that you find a man that is actually a genuine, kind person that will revere you, Lisa, and not... Lenny's been trash. I don't know how you have not seen it. I have not seen a redeeming quality of Lenny ever since we were introduced to him. I don't know what it, because we fell in love with you because you seem so down to earth, so kind, so just a decent person, a little flaky, but even besides that, look, nothing wrong with a flaky. I love a little flaky crust. Look, but you know what I mean? All right. So they hang out. Kiki's there making us laugh and having a good time. She gets on the stripper pole. And she's like, Lisa needs to get somebody in here to break her back. I know I need it, so I know she definitely needs it. And I said, you know what, Kiki? And this is why we keep Kiki around, to make us laugh and have a good time. So that was a cool scene. But that's also when we found out about the trainer dropping Lisa for the mistress. Okay. So we get the final scene. The final scene, guys, before we even talk about the final scene, don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to check out TheKempire.com for all things merch, for all of our social media, so you can see some of the random things that I say about housewives, pop culture news, all of that, like my Twitter, my TikTok, all of that. And don't forget to subscribe to the Kempire Radio podcast if you haven't already, and rate and review it as well. A visual version of the podcast came out this week on the Kempire Radio YouTube channel, so be sure to subscribe to that. And the Kempire Shorts channel that we just launched, be sure to subscribe to that. So we briefly talked about the scene with Alexia and Frankie at the DeMoya Foundation. I didn't want to brush over that. I thought that was an important scene. I know we talked a little bit about it earlier. I thought that was an important scene. I'm glad that we're still talking about Frankie and his journey and his progression and the things that he's doing for his progression. I thought that was a beautiful scene. I want to see more of it. I think you're inspiring a lot of mothers that have children with disabilities. So Alexia, although I don't love you in every moment, I love this part of your story. Speaking of Alexia, so Alexia and Nicole meet up to hash out their issues. And Nicole says, I really had no idea that you were so upset about what went down at your house. And I apologize if that hurt your feelings. And they quickly move on. And they talk about being peacemakers. And I have to say, I felt like, we get so many scenes where people sort of have conversations and it seems like they move on too quickly. It felt like they moved in a place where it's like we should get along. Like, here's where I'm coming from, Alexia, in regards to, me being a career woman and how these types of rumors could affect me. And that's why it was important to me. And I felt like they found a good place. And mind you, they're both earth signs. And I love the fact that they talked about it this week. So last week when I didn't know Alexia's astrological sign, it's so funny that this week they're talking about it. And Dr. Nicole, I won't hold it against you that you're a Virgo. Y'all know. But Virgos are my earth sign brothers and sisters. But look, I got to see the rest of Alexia's chart. She's a Taurus. She's like, I'm stubborn. And Nicole says, I'm stubborn. Not more stubborn than a Taurus. So I love how they talked about that. They talk about the trip and how they're going to be peacemakers on the trip and how they want to focus on having a good time. So the preview for the trip looks insane, but looks quite entertaining. I'm sure we will get a preview of the reunion shortly because we already see the reunion looks. I don't know what's happening with time. I feel like we're having so many different housewives shows happening at the same time, and then reunions and looks and fashions and snippets and all of that. If you enjoy any of that stuff, be sure to check out what you've missed over the last few weeks, guys. I know a lot of you are back at the office. A lot of you are out of the loop when it comes to our live shows or our pre-recorded videos. Well, spend the weekend, catch up, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. So replay crew, don't forget to let me know where you're watching from. Don't forget to let me know how you would rate these reunion looks. Don't forget to let me know how you would rate the episode and how you're feeling about Miami this season. Because I'm loving Miami this season. By the end of this episode, I was like, damn, another good episode, Miami? I'm happy. And I think they're doing a great job. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know who's the production company. I don't even pay attention. And do they produce other cities that I don't know about? Or is this their first time doing this? I need to Google schmoogle. Or you guys can let me know in the comment section or the live chat. As always, guys, don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to check out Rose Forever New York. Links will be available in the description for your discount of $25 off with the discount code Kempire25. Shout out to them. Thank you for sending this beauty. It's gorgeous. And it will last you a year or more if you take good care of it. And it's a better gift than, roses that last for 2 or 3 weeks. Just saying, tell your boo you want a forever rose. Let's go. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Like the video. Thank you to our mods. Thank you to anyone that sent in a super chat, PayPal, Cash Apps, all those things help support the channel so we were able to continue to elevate and grow. Thank you again, mods, channel members, subscribers. We appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your day and weekend. I will see you guys probably the next video will be Love and Marriage DC, our recap for that. Then, of course, the Real Housewives of Potomac recap on Mondays at 1 p.m. Eastern with Grace Report and Layla Lynn. And then, of course, on our channel at 3 p.m. Eastern. And on Sunday night, we will be doing our watch party of Real Housewives of Potomac and Family Karma. Everyone, have a great rest of your day. Let's get out of here with some music.
You remind me of Friday fever when the sun went down. I could try to describe this feeling, but just come about. Lay it down for the night, tell myself I'm alright. We're all a little bit tongue-tied. I think it's just my type. We could do it up for life. Your call, but I'll be waiting outside. Tongue-tied. Ooh, you bring the lighter. I got